Once you've dove further and with more granularity into your processes using your KPIs and then breaking that down by steps of the process, now you've identified where you have the most opportunity for improvement, meaning where, if you can improve performance in this specific area, do you have the largest value that you can produce by improving your KPI performance? So one of the best things, and this is probably where you should start because it's one of the easiest things to do, is by building standard operating procedures. Now, the benefits of standard operating procedures are it standardizes best practices on how you do a specific process. It is a document that creates step-by-step instructions for how to execute something. But your question might be, okay, that's great. How do I identify best practices? Well, that's a great question. If you have multiple people inside of an organization who do the same job or the same process, and or you have a process that isn't standardized and it's done a variety of different ways, well, use the KPIs and the data that you've already set up, right? Break it down by the different ways that the process is currently completed and see which one performs better on your core KPIs. So if your core KPI is lead time, then, and you have 3 different individuals who do that step in the process and they all do it slightly differently, look at your lead time measurement on that piece of the process by individual and see which one of them does it faster, which one of them performs better on KPI. That'll give you an idea. A, do you have employees that are performing to their highest level of capability? But also B, what are the best practices that we can get from our employees on how this can be performed most efficiently? Once you've identified those best practices or how you want that process to be done, you can create a standard operating procedure to give guidance and create accountability in following that standard operating procedure for those individual employees. On the screen, I'm sharing an example of a standard operating procedure. There are dozens of templates out there that you can use. The template doesn't matter all that much, but what the content is does, right? So you want the title. So what process does this cover? The SOP number. You want to have good version control and tracking. The effective date. The line of business, the department is very important to understand what functional area this SOP is for, because you're going to have like a document repository where you want to store all of this information. You're going to want approvals. You're going to want to really clearly get this reviewed by multiple parties to make sure it is what you want it to be. You're going to want to define the purpose, and you're going to want to define the scope. An SOP is for a specific step of the process. It has a start. It has an end. You need to define what that scope is. Who are the subject matter experts and the process owners? Those are going to be your stakeholders. And then we get into the SOP itself, which you can see here. The SOP is literally step-by-step instructions on how to do the process. The standard for an SOP is if you had somebody with basic knowledge of your business, but zero knowledge of this specific process itself, could they take the SOP and successfully complete the process? So that is the standard that you should write an SOP to. It is step-by-step instructions, and I took these out just because I can't share the screenshots that I had in this example, but in practice, in addition to the step-by-step instructions that you see on the screen here, if your process is digital, you should have screenshots of exactly what the people who are doing the process should be seeing in the system that they are doing the process on the screen. You should have screenshots. That's going to really help people be consistent as an end user of this SOP. If the process is physical, so for example, you're a manufacturer and this is a physical process out on the shop floor, then you should have pictures. You should have somebody taking pictures of what you should be seeing, what you should be doing, what you should be looking at as you go through this. That's also very important. There should be, in addition to the text, step-by-step instructions, there should be visual aids, screenshots, and or pictures that go along with that to make sure that you're going to deliver a consistent experience and make sure that you're going to eliminate variability for how your employees do this particular process. Variation is the enemy of high performance in repeatable processes. So the goal of an SOP is to eliminate all variation and implement best practices in as efficient manner as possible on your core processes.